1 orange per second. That is the brisk pace Jose has imposed upon himself. He has picked fruit in Florida since arriving from Mexico 7 years ago, illegally. Jose is an undocumented worker.
This bag weighs 50 kilos, and I can tell you it takes a lot of time to fill it.
Jose gets paid by the number of oranges he picks. There is no guarantee of a minimum wage. If he can fill up this container in an hour, he will make $10.
Today, I will only fill 6 or 7 containers. It's just too hot. The sun is too strong, so I need to take a break.
Jose filled out no paperwork before he started his job. He has no benefits. He has no paid breaks.
No ha comido. ¿No te sobró lonche?
Here, we work until we're exhausted. We never stop. We go on until our body says no.
In case of an accident at work, there is no compensation.
You've emptied everything, right?
For each container filled, he receives a chip from his supervisor.
I'm going to help the others. We have to finish now. Look, I've done 9. I did my day. 8 or 9 containers is not bad for today.
After 10 hours of effort, Jose earned $90. The commercial farm where Jose works is located close to a busy road. In Florida, undocumented workers are illegal, but not hidden. There are more than 800,000 in this state. Most of them came from Latin America. During his re-election campaign, Obama made a promise to those without documents living in the U.S., a pathway to American citizenship. Conservative Republicans opposed the president's reform plan, arguing foreign workers take jobs from Americans. But in Florida, many businesses embrace this cheap workforce.
Hey, give me the basin. I'm going to put it here.
Francisco Maldonado manages a tomato farm with 150 workers under him. When he hires them, he only asks for a social security number. No other papers are required.
I don't know if they have papers or not. I'm not the immigration, but I guess they are. Some of them are. There's so many people that don't have paper, but you really need them.
At the beginning of the year, 3 of his employees were arrested and deported.
Pedro, ¿cómo vamos?
Hey, Pedro, how are you? Is it too hard?
Ah, qué bueno.
He says he could never replace them with American workers.
I don't think the U.S. citizens will come and do this hard job because it's too hard. It's very hard. There's only so many people that they can handle to do these, like on the heat. Sometimes it rains.
Ya, ahora sí.
I'm done for today, at least until tomorrow.
It's 5 p.m. Jose just ended his working day.
Did he finish the picking? Okay, so I'm going to have a little break.
Before he can take the company bus home, Jose has to wait until all the other workers on the farm are done with their jobs. During the ride, a Mexican song reminds them of home. Without any official papers, they know they are just considered a temporary workforce.
We don't have any hope for the future here. I feel like I'm in a jail, locked up. That's what we're all feeling. Because there's no gratitude for our job, despite all of our hard work.
Friday is payday. The bus stops in a parking lot far from the farm. Workers get off, and the contractors that the farm hired to provide cheap labor then pass out the paychecks for the week. All of this happens in daylight. an open secret in the city.
Take this, sign here and here. Put your name and your wife's name.
Did you know that most of your workers are undocumented?
I can't say if they have documents or not.
Hey, will you please cut the camera off, dude? No me entiendes? Will you cut the camera off? Get out of my face. Will you please?
No police, no regulation. This unlawful labor industry does not seem to bother anybody.
Everybody knows we don't have documents. Just take a look at all these people who get off the bus with their dirty clothes. It's easy to see they're undocumented workers.
Their difficult journey is not finished. Undocumented people in the U.S. cannot open bank accounts. After receiving their paychecks, they have to change them into cash in a little shop downtown.
I need this money to eat.
The same queue is there every Friday, a routine rush for cash after a long week of work. In Immokalee, a small city in southern Florida, where most of the undocumented workers in the area live, 70% of the population live below the poverty line. Guadalupe and Gennaro reside in a small trailer home. They have been undocumented farm workers for 13 years.
She's angry because you didn't open our ice cream.
They have been in the trailer for 3 years, sharing 100 square feet of living space.
Oh, give me that. This is my son, the little one. His name's Henry. And this is my other son, Brian. He's sick. He suffers from a nervous system disorder. He's 8 years old. And the last one is 2 years old. Those are my 3 kids.
Their kids have American names and citizenship. They were born in the USA. But their parents could be deported at any moment.
For any violation, even a minor violation, like having an alcoholic beverage outside, they stop us. The police are trained to hunt for undocumented people. They jail us, and then the immigration services can deport us.
Guadalupe and her husband share the trailer with 2 other families.
Can you see the mess? Come on, leave us alone.
Each family pays $300 a month in rent to the owner.
He sleeps here with me, the other one sleeps there, and I sleep between them to avoid them fighting. And their dad sleeps here with the little one.
Earning so little, they don't have the money to move.
Come on, over here.
Away from her husband, Guadalupe tells us why she had to stop working in the fields a few months ago.
Sometimes the managers, when they see women working, they try to take advantage. I've experienced it myself. It's sexual harassment, and it can go very far.
Specifically, what does it mean?
Concretely, it means that they wanted more than just a boss-employee relationship. I said no.
Without any possible legal standing, she had no choice but to resign to flee her boss. Guadalupe's story is not isolated. Sexual harassment against undocumented workers is common, according to a recent survey by a human rights group.
Nearly all of the 52 workers we interviewed said they had experienced sexual violence or harassment. Only 41% of victims of rape and sexual assault reported the crimes to the police. Human Rights Watch investigation found that perpetrators are anyone who has the power to hire and fire workers.
Now, though, some are starting to take action in order to protect and support the victims. Adam Labra was an undocumented immigrant. He worked on Florida's farms for a year before becoming a social activist.
Esperamos que nuestros políticos, ¿verdad? En Washington miren.
We'd like the politicians in Washington to understand how the undocumented people are suffering here. and all the abuses that are committed against them.
Today, he's going to a meeting in Orlando to support the immigration reform being debated in Congress.
María, ¿cómo se llama la muchacha?
Adam meets Gennaro, who we had interviewed in his trailer home.
Gennaro.
Hi, Gennaro. How are you?
Gennaro.
Look, this is a program for universal health care. Gennaro represents all those who couldn't be here today, all those in the shadows who fear being fired by their bosses. If they get organized and defend their rights, if they're brave enough to defend those rights, there'll be consequences.
Like Gennaro, 200 undocumented workers dare to show their faces to stand up for their rights.
We have to keep fighting. All the workers haven't got the same rights.
People supporting the reform turned out in large numbers.
In this country, which is supposed to be the most respectful of human rights and democracy, farm workers have not got the same rights. They can't join unions. They are not paid for extra hours. And they don't have Social Security.
If immigration reform passes, undocumented people living in the U.S. will be able to get a work permit after passing an English test.
Too many families have been separated, with fathers deported. I can't look after my children alone. That's why the reform must pass.
The problem, though, for the reform and why it faces so much opposition from Republicans is that it would also expand the American electorate in a way sure to benefit the Democratic Party. In the long term, undocumented residents could represent 11 million new voters, and in 2012, 71% of the Hispanic population supported President Obama. Until Congress passes immigration reform, Gennaro will stay involved, even if he loses a day of work in the field for each meeting he attends. He will know his fate at the end of the summer.